Hey guys, welcome to Shino's Arsenal Daily, keeping you up to date on all things Arsenal. So make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. On today's show, we're talking Arsenal's dominant display against Chelsea, the Gunners' trip to the Netherlands tomorrow night, the Hale End Wonder Kid ready to replicate Rico Lewis, Patino's path to the first team, Kai's influence on the pursuit of Palhinha and Douglas Luiz, and Arsenal's missing piece. Let's get started. Arsenal women beat Chelsea 4-1 at the Emirates. Arsenal put in a brilliant display in front of a record crowd at the Emirates Stadium to record a humbling victory over the champions, Chelsea. The Gunners are now level on points with just goal differential separating the two teams, and Chelsea suffered that defeat in front of 59,000 people at the Emirates, which is a WSL record. Beth Mead opened up the scoring in the first 8 minutes of the game, and Chelsea did respond against the run of play to equalize. A brace from Alessia Russo and a goal from Amanda Ilstat meant Arsenal saw off our local rivals in style with a dominant display. Any suggestion that Chelsea were going to run away with the title have now been silenced with Arsenal's statement win. Yesterday's result was Arsenal's 9th straight win in all competitions, and Arsenal remains second, trailing Chelsea again on just goal differential. Arsenal will be back in Conti Cup action against Tottenham Hotspur on Wednesday in the first of two North London derbies this week. Let's talk PSV away. Arsenal go away to PSV on Tuesday night. And I'm just going to tell you guys right now, I don't want to see any of our really important players in this game. Do not dress. Do not leave your house. This is mission cotton wool. I want to see Ramsdale. I want to see Elneny, Jorginho, Cedric. Yes, I said it. Cedric, and Kedia Reece-Nelson. These are the players I want to see, as well as some kids. So let's talk one of the kids that could potentially be a part of the squad against PSV. Ethan Nwaneri scored 5 goals, yes, 5 goals against Crewe in the FA Youth Cup. The highly regarded teenager managed a remarkable 5-goal haul against Crewe in the last night's FA Youth Cup game, or not last night, but the night prior. He's too good for his age group. I think we can all say that. He's too good for his age group, right? But is he good enough to skip a loan or to go into the first team, just like a Saka, like an Ashley Cole? When the 16-year-old midfielder became the youngest player in Premier League history last season, when he made his appearance off the bench against Brentford, I think a lot of Gooners thought that we would see him in the first team a lot sooner. One thing that could quicken his integration into the first team is his versatility. Like a lot of Arsenal midfielders, his technical ability and footballing IQ allows him to play across the front three as well as in midfield. Arsenal are limited in attack right now and in attacking midfield, with Emile Smith-Rowe and Fabio Vieira taking turns being injured. And so maybe there's a spot for the super talented wonder kid there. Personally, I'd like to see Ethan Nwaneri take a squad spot next season. ESR and Nelson probably at this stage should be moved on. Great players, Haalanders, but definitely are not moving us forward and could probably fetch a decent fee, especially when it comes to Emile Smith-Rowe. He was highly sought after, Ethan Nwaneri, by Manchester City as well as Chelsea. And maybe he can make the jump like Rico Lewis at Manchester City. You don't have to put these kids under a lot of stress. I'm not saying that he needs to start games next season, but he could be slowly cooked at Arsenal in a squad position next season if Arteta decides to trust him. Rico Lewis, not thrown to the wolves, but definitely was given playing time little by little with a good team. And so that kind of bunkered him in and kind of kept him safe. So when he made mistakes, there was people to cover for him. And listen, if you're good enough, you're old enough. In the short term, he should be included in the team for PSV with Miles Lewis-Skelly and Rule Walters. But let's talk about another Haalender that's making waves. Charlie Patino scores again. Charlie Patino scored his 3rd goal of the season against Rotherham in a 2-1 win for Swansea, bringing his tally to 3 goals and 4 assists on the season. Patino is developing very well in the championship. He is the perfect left center mid. He has the creativity, he scores goals, and he does his bit defensively. He's playing so well that some people have earmarked him as a player for Arsenal's first team next season. But what about this season? Arsenal, should they call him back from his loan? Arsenal are short in midfield with Partey and Emile Smith-Rowe Vieira all out. Maybe bringing him back will allow Arsenal to focus the funds that we could potentially have in January in other positions like striker and defense. Is he ready? Should Arteta trust him? You guys let me know in the comment section what you guys think about that. But personally, I think there will be plenty of space for Charlie Patino next season, with 3 holding midfielders potentially leaving in Jorginho, Partey, and Elneny. But bringing him back off of loan feels a little bit unfair and short-sighted. Arteta has shown a reluctance to trust the youth, which might seem a little bit strange when you consider Arsenal having one of the youngest teams in the Premier League. But when I say he doesn't trust the youth, he doesn't tend to integrate academy players in, right? And so ending his loan right now just to sit behind Jorginho and Elneny does feel, again, unfair and like a waste of time. So the best thing for Charlie Patino is to keep killing it at Swansea and Arsenal to go into the market for a midfielder. And Fabrizio Romano has given us updates on Arsenal's pursuit of João Palhinha as well as Douglas Luiz. Fabrizio Romano has said there are very good conditions for Palhinha to leave in January. Bayern still like him, and it's an open race as Arsenal appreciate the player. They want a midfielder. Douglas Luiz is a top target, but Villa do not want to sell, so they could move for Palhinha. What he's hearing is that Arsenal want younger players, but it's all about the market. We all know that when you get into the January market, the options that you have available to you don't always necessarily suit the plan that you usually have in the summer market. Arsenal tend to recruit much younger in the summer, but we saw when we recruited in January last season, we brought in Jorginho and Trossard, 2 players that don't necessarily fit that young profile. So João Palhinha did play in Fulham's 5-0 thrashing of West Ham, and he now has 69 tackles in the Premier League in the 2023-2024 season, at least 23 more than any other players. He's excellent at what he does and would ensure that if something happened to Declan Rice, we would not be up shit creek. But he does not solve our progression question. You know, I think a lot of Arsenal fans do feel like the player that we're missing is Thomas Partey, and João Palhinha and Thomas Partey are not the same. One thing that Thomas Partey gives you on the ball is progression, whether it's through carrying the ball or through the ball in between the lines. With João Palhinha, he's very much so a specialist in winning the ball back, and those are 2 completely different things. And we already have that in Declan Rice. Someone probably more similar to Thomas Partey or has some of those same qualities as somebody like Douglas Luiz, who does solve that issue, but again, we can't even talk to him in January. And so a lot of this for me falls on whether or not Arsenal like what they see from Kai Havertz. If the plan was to always play this midfield, and what I mean by this midfield, I mean Declan Rice, Odegaard, and Kai Havertz, then they will not invest in a left center mid because Arteta tends to play the same midfield over and over again. And so as we saw with Thomas Partey, Xhaka, and Odegaard, those 3 played with each other for two years straight. So I don't necessarily see this or anticipate this world where Arteta switches these players up. I do think it's very much the case that it's Declan Rice and Odegaard plus somebody else. And then you have options like Vieira, like for different game states, because Vieira mostly plays in game states that suit his style, which is when we're attacking. You know, when he doesn't have to defend as much, he's more useful and more influential in the game. So I do think that, you know, Vieira is somebody that could supplement Kai Havertz in a different game state. And then you have somebody like Jorginho that's more of a backup guy, right? And so I think how we recruit in midfield will tell us a lot about how the club feels Project Kai Havertz is going. In the last 4 games, I do think that he's been excellent. He's been growing in confidence. He's scoring goals. He's showing a little bit of creativity, a little bit of bite. And he's carrying the ball and he looks really good. So he was our best player against Villa, I thought, and this midfield three is starting to click. And I think from here on out, we'll see a lot more of it. So if we go for Palhinha, I do feel like Project Havertz is going well because Arsenal will feel like, okay, we have a left center mid that we can count on. We have our new Granit Xhaka. So now we can just underpin Declan Rice's position. And so Declan Rice can still play left 8 if we need a different option. But, that's kind of how it will be. The midfield will be balanced out. If they don't feel like it's going well, I do think you'll see a left center mid come in, a big signing like a Douglas Luiz in the summer, which would really piss me off because it's something that we could have already done. My feeling is that Arteta will trust his guy because he really likes Kai Havertz and he went out on a limb for him. And right now, it does seem like it's working. So we'll see how all those things develop. But there's one more thing I want to talk to you guys about, and it's whether or not Arsenal need a star. Fabio Capella said, I must say that the purchase of Declan Rice was fundamental. They undoubtedly played a lot, but he gave a lot of balance that Arteta needed. Arsenal played together. There is no soloist. In the middle of the pitch, the difference is made by the group, never knowing how to move together with and without the ball. They play nice football fast and at a high pace, but that star that can change history is missing. Do you guys feel like Arsenal are missing a star player? And I want you guys to get in the comment section right now and let me know. Stop what you're doing. Do Arsenal need a star? Because Arsenal are definitely sharing the goals right now. We have a front five front five that are sharing the goals. Saka's the face. Rice is also kind of like becoming somebody very like influential in the team. We know Odegaard also scores a lot of goals and is the captain. But do Arsenal need a star? Do they need somebody that they can rely upon? Do they need somebody that's going to do what Thierry Henry did for Arsenal? Somebody like that. I think Arsenal have always tended to have a big star in the team when they do really well. And even if you share the goals, because let's be real, like Pires got goals, Ljungberg got goals, other players got goals, but it really was Thierry, right? And so maybe Arsenal are missing a little bit of that star quality, somebody that when you go to Anfield away, when you go to Etihad away, when you go to St. James, scares the life out of the opposition, somebody that is going to get you the goals, somebody that's going to have those special moments, somebody that's going to add that star quality. Maybe it's Mbappe. No, you guys, I'm just joking. But I do think Arsenal are missing this player. I think that's the next step for Arsenal is to bring in somebody that's going to be a game changer for us like Declan Rice, but further up the pitch. Arsenal have not really invested that much in attack since Mikel Arteta has been here. It took him almost 2 seasons to buy a forward. And we bought Gabriel Jesus as well as Trossard, and neither one of those are necessarily stars. Gabriel Jesus is a really good system player that really allows the system as it is today to really function. But he really does well in the 95% of the games that we play a season. But when we play in those 5%, that's where he's less influential, and that's where you're really missing that star quality. Like if we had a star or had somebody that had that star quality against Villa, we probably do walk out of there with a pretty easy win. I think we were just missing somebody that's just like, you know what, I'm just going to kick it in the back of the net. And so I do think Arsenal are missing this. Do I feel like we're going to get it in January? Do you tend to buy your star players in January? I don't think you do. But in the summer, do Arsenal need to go out there and find their guy? I think so. Despite Martinelli and Saka being so good, they need help. They can't continuously carry the team. And I think some players just carry that crown a little bit better than others. We saw that TT always did it for us. He loved and relished the opportunity to be the guy that was always the villain to our rivals, but always our hero every single week, week in and week out. So I want to know what you guys think about that. Who do you guys think that star could be? For me, you guys, I've said it a couple of times before. I think if Arsenal have any opportunity to bring in Victor Osimhen, they should do it. That's how I feel. I think if there's a 10% chance, 15% chance, they put their chips on the table. I know he's not looking amazing right now, but Napoli are shit right now. So we know what he can do. He has that star quality. He's the only striker on the market that's probably worth 100 million. and he's the only one that has that arrogance. I do think Arsenal lack a little bit of that bastard. They lack a little bit of that villain quality, you know? Like the players that we've always hated playing against is because they had that villain arc against us all the time. And Arsenal at the current moment are a little too nice, especially up front. We have good players that do good things, but do we really have that person that just every single team hates playing against? No. And so that's the player that we're missing. And I want you guys to get in the comment section and let me know who you think our star could potentially be. You guys, that's it for the show. I hope you guys really liked it. Make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. Get into the comments afterwards and let me know what you guys thought about this show. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.